What's going on, guys? It's Kyle. Welcome to the Stock Goat YouTube channel. In today's video, we are going to be covering the SoFi stock. As of right now, today, as you're seeing this video, we are 7 days away from the SoFi earnings. But if you're just including the trading days, we're about 4 days away from SoFi earnings. So, guys, we are getting extremely close. And I am very bullish coming into these Q2 earnings, not specifically for the Q2 earnings, but I'm very bullish for the CEO Anthony Noto to increase full year 2024 guidance, just going off of those, unemployment reports, CPI reports, and more specifically, potential rate cuts coming in September. And I believe that gives SoFi some momentum to start increasing lending, and that's going to make overall growth speed up as well. Now, also in my last video, I did say specifically that this could be a very volatile week for SoFi, most likely because we might have some analysts coming out right before the earnings announcements, making some headlines and dropping some price target downgrades, sell ratings, because we've seen that for the past 2 years. So far, as of right now, today, Tuesday, 2 days into the market, we've only had one analyst come out, which was a buy rating from Jeffries, $12. So we haven't had any negative sentiment come out yet. So we have 3 more days left. But I was thinking to myself, what if these guys actually don't come out and downgrade and sell rating the stock before earnings because they're too worried about the macro shift and they're starting to get concerned about their ratings and what people think about them as an analyst, taking them seriously. You got to think about it like this. These guys were technically right the past 2 years with their sell ratings and downgrades on the SoFi stock, because the SoFi stock has literally been in this range for 2 years, $5 to $8. So these guys were technically right, even though the company has shown strong growth throughout all of their segments. But what if these guys don't come out and downgrade the stock, and SoFi has a great earnings, a guidance raise, and these guys all flip bullish because they're worried about their ratings finally, because they know the macro shift will definitely help SoFi. So I still don't know if these guys are going to come out and downgrade this stock, the next 3 days. We got 3 more days inside of this week. But if they don't do it, that gets me extremely bullish that these guys are going to be flipping the switch because of macro and interest rates. So that's something to think about. That's something I covered in my last video. Watch out for these downgrades. It still can definitely happen. Tomorrow will be Wednesday, so 3 days left. Guys, right now, I'm just betting on Anthony Noto. I think this guy is going to pull a rabbit out of his hat, and we're going to see a shift because we've been hearing this transitional year in the last couple of months. That's all you're hearing. And I think, yeah, Q1 and Q2 may have been transitional, cool off. I think Q3 and Q4 specifically, SoFi is really going to turn it on because they're getting that macro shift to lower interest rates, on the horizon, 100% guarantee on a rate cut. So I think that's what I'm betting on right now is Anthony Noto just taking advantage and gaining all of this market share in all these different verticals and releasing new products. And I think SoFi has definitely been prepared for a macro shift more than anyone because they have remained profitable the entire time when you've seen multiple companies shift from lower profits to unprofitable. So I'm very excited. If you find any of this information useful, be sure to smash the like button, drop a comment. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're going to be keeping you updated daily. Let's get into the video. All right, guys, a little bit of a rough day inside of the market today. SoFi was green right here, as you can see, and then we're down 1.4%, down a little bit in the after hours. And you can see the indexes right here. S&P 500 was red, Dow red, NASDAQ red. Actually, small cap Russell went a little bit green, so that's not very good for SoFi because now we're not following the Russell 2000 small caps, which we were following it for about a week on that crazy pump. But understand, guys, you're seeing this after hour move mostly because you got these stocks selling off, these big mega caps. Remember, guys, earnings week are this week, and you just had two big earnings announced today. That was Google and Tesla. Google performed a double beat, and then Tesla had a beat on revenue and then a miss on EPS. And both stocks are down in the after hours. Tesla down 8%, and then Google down 2%. So that's what's bringing SoFi and many other fintech tech related stocks down. So I believe this week I'm gonna try and be buying Wednesday, Thursday. That's my goal right now, just where my funds are and stuff like that. But I think we're gonna get good buying opportunities these next 48 hours, and I think we will be overall higher by Monday. Remember, earnings is Tuesday in the morning, so Monday will be the last day, until the close before earnings. So I think, the good buying opportunities are going to come this week, Wednesday and Thursday. And we're probably going to float around the $7 and $8 range. All right, guys, taking a look at the calls. We know specifically I was covering for 2 weeks straight the 300 to 330,000 open interest on the calls last week. Those have been expired, and we know that SoFi really got hit the last 48 hours. Even though they had a nice run up, they just hammered those stocks down for 2 straight days. You can see the calls have backed off from 330,000 to this week, 154,000. Still pretty high in my opinion. You may see a little bit of manipulation, but hey, I think the stock could still potentially go over $8 if we get some more solid earnings. And then next week we cool off a little bit to 113,000, 46,000 next week, then 162,000. So overall, I'd say on the middle upper end of open interest on the calls. I'm not really watching puts, guys. I'm more watching, the bullish sentiment, because this is where market makers come in and just, hold this stock down and all these expire worthless, which the better opportunity would make sense to sell the calls if the stock doesn't move at all and just sits in the same place. So right now, these are moderate. They're not as bad as last week at 320 to 30,000, but I still think we could break over 8 before earnings. All right, guys, take a look. We got earnings 7 days away, including the weekend if you want to count that. Q1 and Q2 are the transition quarters, in my opinion. Even though you heard Anthony Noto say 2024 was a transition year, I think we're getting more bullish macro sentiment in the back half of the year, and that gives them some leeway to run up Q3 and Q4. Second half of 2024, SoFi is back in superior growth mode, in my opinion. The acceleration is about to happen. Look below. So as you guys can see, you're getting my revenue projections right here. Q1 was 580, and then Q2, a little slight tick up. 585 is what I'm pulling for. And then you can see Q3 and Q4. This is where SoFi is really going to turn it on. Look at the guys, 620. That's like a 35 million jump, and then a 50 million jump in Q4 is what I'm projecting, 670. So this is what you're waiting for, guys. You're waiting for SoFi to give us that increased guidance. And I believe you're going to see a increased guidance this year, maybe $30 million on this quarter. And you might see one more after Q3. And these numbers would actually be higher if they were to increase guidance twice. So, guys, take a look. This is why the SoFi stock has been down, because of the guidance. Look at the 2 quarters, the second quarter reporting right now. It's just growth has slowed a lot. They can turn it on when they get bullish macro, and that's what I think we're getting right now. All right, guys, and this is the big thing to look for. Even though we've had a declining stock price the last year and a half, institutions have been slowly accumulating and stealing shares from inexperienced retailers' hands for over 2 years. Institutional ownership now sits at 4-year highs at 44%. Institutions will likely be over 60% in the next 6 months of 2024, in my opinion. And you guys can see right here, you can see how low institutional ownership was. And this is when you saw the stock jump up 20, 10, 25, 15, stuff like that. And then it actually went up pretty high April 2022 and then just sold off crazy, down to like barely any institutional ownership at all. And then just the last year, it's just been going up for a straight year.